So as always, coming into your comfortable seated position, whatever that may be, it doesn't matter. It's about being comfortable. It's about starting to connect into that feeling of being grounded through the seat of the pelvis, maybe feeling that in the legs as well. And the reason I always start off with this is because, you know, from the moment we wake up and we open our eyes, we're up in the head, you know, thinking, stepping into our day, planning, organizing, maybe worrying, a bit stressing if that kind of stuff is going on in your life. And this isn't actually a natural movement of our energy. It's just we've been conditioned, you know, to completely identify with the mind and thinking and doing and action. And we need to be in balance. You know, we need to come into a place of feeling, of being connected into the body, of being grounded. And even though, you know, energy sort of doesn't go up in the head or down into the body, it's about different vibration, but essentially it makes it easier for us to understand. So rather than our energy going up into the mind, we start to send our energy down into the body, into the earth, so that we feel a little bit more grounded, balanced and centered. And you don't really get that up in the head. You know, the head is drama, the head is a little bit distraction all over the place. So this is why I always do this at the beginning of practice. And our practice today is all around this, you know, feeling grounded, feeling centered, using this time to just move our awareness into a different vibration. So the mind is very active and, you know, the brain waves are very quick. So by just focusing on the breath, by starting to breathe down into this relationship of the body into the earth, that actually changes the kind of the frequency of our brain waves. So the brain actually slows down, like the energetic waves that are produced from thinking, planning, organizing, you know, doing, actually just slow down a little bit. And that's a really nourishing thing for us to connect into, because it's about balance. You know, it's we need the mind, we need to think, we need to do, we need action, but we also need still connect into the body to feel grounded, to feel centered. And then we're in balance, and we're all out of balance because we spend so much time up in the head and doing and action. So practice today, and all our practices really, is just bringing our awareness down into the body, into feeling, into connection, slowing the mind down. And so that maybe when we step off the mat, we can spend a part of our day still connected into this energetic space. So hands into Namaste. Opening up practice, sealing intention in with the sound of Om. Soft exhale out. Deep inhale into the heart. So staying here with the breath, and it's about intention. So our intention is to allow the breath to draw our awareness down into that feeling of being grounded. And then we have the intention of practice, which is, you know, will keep on bringing us back into this movement of energy. So one more breath here, just observing, inhale, and observing, exhale. Releasing Namaste, opening up the eyes, coming into half knee pile with eagle arms. So extending left leg forward and then bringing the right knee over, if that's okay for you, for half knee pile. If it isn't, as always, you just do something that feels better in your body, okay? So especially if you get any tension around the inside and outside of your knees, then you just need to listen to that because they don't want you to do it. Right. So coming into eagle arms, inhale, lift up, lengthening torso out of pelvis. Try not to bring shoulders up to ears. And then on exhale, right arm underneath the left. And then you decide if you'd like to double bind here or if you want to place your hands on your shoulders. And as always, it's what feels the best in your body, and you connect into that through a connection with your breath. Because sometimes if we do a posture that's just a little bit too like grippy or struggly, if that's even a word, you know, what goes is the breath, because we start to just focus on trying and almost kind of squeezing our body into a posture it doesn't want to go into. So the quality of the breath throughout the whole of practice stays exactly the same as it was at the beginning of practice. Inhale, just lifting up through the crown of the head, a sense of the torso lengthening out of pelvis. Exhale, arms draw back into shoulders, inviting shoulder blades to just draw down the back. Inhale, just imagine you're trying to breathe your shoulder blades away from spine. Exhale, just sending your elbows up in front of you towards the sky, just opening the heart space up a little bit. If you're in the double bind, the fingertips will start to head over towards the crown. But nothing in low back. So if this really just gets you all in the low back, don't do this. Just stay here in the initial starting position. If it's okay for you, sending the elbows up, just starting to explore an opening in the heart space. Just subtle, right? We're just stepping into practice. We're just starting to invite the body to become a little bit more spacious through our awareness and attention to the breath. And then if you have taken your elbows up, just bring them down first and then release. Moving into the other side, extending right leg forward and then bringing the left knee over for half knee part if it wants to do it. Don't feel like you have to. If again you're getting grief in your knees, just do something else that makes your knees happy. Eagle arms, inhale, lift and lengthen. So the torso out of the pelvis, not shoulders up to ears if you can. And then exhale, left arm under right. You may find that your body wants to do something different on this side, double bind, hands on shoulders. It doesn't matter. What matters is the quality of your breath and your ability to stay focused on the breath. That's it. All the postures do, you know, they are tools to enable us to keep focusing on the breath and to journey into that internal space. Yoga isn't about postures. You know, postures are a very small part of the system of yoga. Yoga is about creating that internal space so we can actually spend more time there and we start to observe and witness what goes on up in the mind, rather than the addiction and the identification that we have with it. Inhale, that feeling of lengthening up through the sides of the waist, crown of the head reaches up to sky. Exhale, arms back, and then shoulder blades maybe draw down the back. And they might not want to move, and we don't care. It's just an invitation with the release of exhale if the body wants to go there. And then if it feels okay for you, just be very aware of what's going on in your low back if you'd like to, bringing your elbows up in front of you, just to gently explore a possibility to open a little bit through the heart space. Nothing major, you know, just gentle, slowly, we step into the body with the breath. Any gnarliness, pinching, anything uncomfortable in the low back, then just make sure that you bring your elbows back down and you just stay in that more neutral position with the spine. If you are in that heart opening option, just bring your arms back down and then release them. Keeping the right leg where it is, bring your left foot in. So you're in a Janu Shavasana. So again, if this isn't comfortable for you or you need to put something underneath your knee to support it, then please do. Coming into just an easy forward fold, but from the pelvis, okay? So if you just find it's all about rounding your upper back, just don't go there, just stay in this upright position. So just imagine I'm there and my hands are here on your body. And then as you inhale, my hands are lifting your torso out of the pelvis, but the shoulders aren't going with that, all right? It's just this lift here. And then exhale, tilting from the pelvis, maybe. And what can help if you want to is to bend your right knee, okay? That will just create a little bit more space around the back of the pelvis and the low back because the hamstring isn't engaging. Inhale, just breathe both sit bones, both buttocks down into the earth. Keep that connection. Exhale again, the lengthening through the sides of the waist, the cosmic hands on the sides of the ribs. And just a breath. The intention with this breath is to breathe into the sides and into the back of the rib cage. Exhale, softening the face, so allowing that release to soften the outside edges of the eyes, and if it works for you, a little glide of low jaw left to right. So the low jaw is relaxed, the lips are soft. And we focus on the breath, which is inviting our awareness to move down into that feeling of being grounded and connected. Walking the torso back up, if you were in that forward fold, moving into the other side. So extending left leg forward, right foot, if it's okay, into that Janu Shavasana. If it's not okay, something else that is. You know, we need to look after our knees a lot. They're the unsung heroes of our body at times. If you want to bend the left knee, that will help to bring a little bit more space in the low back. Inhale again, the hands, cosmic hands on the sides of the ribs, lifting the torso out of pelvis. And then from the pelvis, tilting forward, maybe. And if you want to go there, soften the left knee if it's all got a bit rounding in the upper back. So again, we're just slowly like stepping into the body, nothing aggressive ever or forceful ever. You know, we're just gently starting to move into that more internal introspective space. So with the eyes closed, inhaling the buttocks, the sit bones connecting into the earth. Exhale, energy extending out through the crown of the head. And then that movement of energy is just a subtle lift of the torso out of pelvis. Intention with the breath to breathe into the sides and back of the ribs. Exhale, relax the shoulders, the outside edges of the eyes, and maybe, if it works for you, a little glide of low jaw left to right. Torso back up. If you were down, releasing the legs, coming to lay down for bridge with back traction. So just a reminder, in bridge, you can have your feet hip width apart. If you do have low back stuff going on, it can feel nice to have the feet wider because it actually allows a little bit more space around the SI joint and the lumbar vertebra. Okay, so once we come up into bridge, you can move your feet wherever you want to. First of all, back traction, my suggestion is to have your feet hip width apart, and then the heel of your palm, just trying to get it into the hip creases. So this very much depends on body length and arm length, but just doing what you can. Back traction, shoulders are probably going to end up around your ears, and just sending it's like the flesh of your thighs, just sending them away from the hips. So you're sort of pushing up towards the knees. So sometimes we do this with Uddiyana, but we're not today. We're just going to breathe down into the low back. And then exhale, if it's comfortable for you, just press your sacrum and your lumbar vertebra into the earth. So we're releasing out that curve in low back. Inhale, just bring the back into a natural curve. Keep back traction, so sending the femurs, the thigh bones up towards the knees. Exhale, if it's feeling okay, just gently pressing your sacrum into the earth and releasing the lumbar curve out of the spine, if it feels okay. One more time, inhale, just allowing that natural curve to come back into low back. Keep back traction. Exhale, if it's doing it for you, just pressing the sacrum and the low back down into the earth. Inhale, bringing the lumbar curve back in, releasing back traction, and then preparing for bridge. So if you want to, you can move your feet up. I like to have my feet wider. It definitely feels better on my low back. And just a reminder, as we come up into bridge, it's this glute activation, okay, that's going to initiate the movement rather than just maybe sort of pushing up through the upper back. Palms of the hands facing up alongside the body. And then exhale out through the mouth to relax the shoulders. Inhale down into sacrum. That glute activation, right? Exhale, squeezing your glutes down towards the gluteal creases will help to activate the lower fibers of glute max, the biggest buttock muscle, in a way that it's actually functional for our body. And that helps to bring in a little bit more space around the SI joint, less compression in the lumbar vertebra. So you want to feel like you're trying to squeeze your buttocks down towards your gluteal creases, maybe squeezing down towards the back of the thighs. Energetically, it's like you're trying to drag your heels back towards your buttocks, sending your knees forward, so there's not a lot of weight resting on the upper back. And the eyes are closed, breathing down into strong legs. Exhale to soften the face, to relax the shoulders. Three more breaths, keeping that glute activation. We want to feel that everything is in the legs. So we're not interested in resting anything on the upper back to try and flare the rib cage open. This is about strong legs. It's about functional glute activation and finding a little bit of space around the low back and the SI joint, because it gets very congested and very compressed in that part of the body. One more here. Keep that glute activation, strong legs, face is relaxed. We're going to come down in three parts through the upper, the mid, and then the low back down towards the floor in 3 breaths. Take your arms behind you. So your arms are alongside your ears and you're trying to reach something that's just out of reach. Soft exhale out through the mouth. Inhale into the upper back. Exhale, just gently placing the upper back down into the earth. Inhale into the sides of the ribs. Exhale, gently releasing the mid-back, connecting into the earth. Inhale down into sacrum, into back of pelvis. Exhale, slowly lowering the low back and the back of the pelvis down into the earth. And then once you're down, just bring your knees into your chest, just bring your arms down and hug your knees in if that's okay for you. Again, just make sure the sacrum is grounded, so you're not pulling them in so much, you're lifting your low back off the floor. If that's not comfortable for you, just keep your feet on the floor, and maybe it feels nice just to have a little bit of movement in the low back, in the back of pelvis. So a couple of breaths here. Maybe static, maybe a little bit of gentle movement in the body. If you like to roll up through a cosmic egg, you can roll up. If you prefer to roll over, then roll over, and finding yourself into all four position to come into downward facing dog. So down dog, as always, Big palms, soft elbows, shoulder blades wrapping in, squeezing upper arms together. This is one of the most important things we need to do in our practice, is make sure we're using the upper body muscles that want to be worked when we're on our hands, and not working the ones that don't want to get involved in that. So that wrapping of shoulder blades, squeezing of upper arms, releasing of the neck, and then tuck the toes on exhale, slowly coming up into downward facing. So just making sure here, so we're really pressing down into the earth, and then you get energy back, and that energy back takes the weight out of the wrists. It also sends the torso up towards the pelvis as we keep activating shoulder blades into armpits, squeezing upper arms together. Letting go of your neck again, so looking down in between your feet towards the bottom end of the mat. And you can just check out here what's going on with your legs. Rather than if it's available in your body, if you've locked your knees out, try and work on engaging your quads instead. So pulling the muscles above the knees up towards the hips. No one, joint locking's not good. Okay. So one breath here. Walk it up, ragdoll. Feet where they're comfortable. For most of us, it's a kind of hip width apart, but don't get kind of rigid in alignment ever. Knees are soft. The whole of the spine is just softening down towards the front thighs. And it's up to you what you'd like to do with your arms. They can hang loose, opposite elbows, hug your knees. But get this sense that the whole of the spine is just gently decompressing, especially in the low back. And we just allow the weight of the skull to traction the neck, the upper, the mid, the low back. And if it works for you as a reference, you can bring one of your hands on your low back and breathe into your hand. So breathing into the low back. Exhale the weight of the skull, just a subtle tractioning out of the spine. One more breath into low back. Exhale the whole of the spine, responding to the pull of gravity and the weight of the skull. Arms are hanging loose, and then slowly on exhale with the knees soft, just rolling up through the low, the mid, and then eventually the upper back as we bring ourselves up into mountain. Mountain, up to you where you want your feet, doesn't matter, whatever's comfortable for your body. Like I mentioned this a lot in like sort of warrior two poses, but never dictate what your pelvis is doing from your feet. Yeah, so your pelvis dictates where your feet go, okay, if that makes sense. Okay, mountain before we move into 2 rounds of lunging suns. Exhale, hands into namaste. That same feeling, inhale, lifting your torso out of pelvis, those cosmic hands lengthening through the sides of the waist and rib cage. Exhaling, tilting from the pelvis. You may want to soften the knees here, coming all the way down into a very slow and considered forward fold. Low lunge, inhale, left knee back, place it down. Exhale to come up. So that glute activation that we did in bridge, shoulder blades wrapping into armpits like we do in downward facing dog. Hands down, inhale, plank. Knees down, elbows stay facing back, shoulders stay away from the ears. Don't collapse into your low back or stick your bum up towards the sky. So the navel draws into spine, and then slowly lowering all the way down, squeeze the upper arms in. So we're using upper body strength here. Sphinx, elbows underneath shoulders, forearms parallel, palms down. So just an easy Sphinx. Press your pubic bone into the floor. Press your front thighs and the tops of your feet as well. So the legs are very active. Forearms press into the earth as we lift ourselves out of shoulders. Energetically, elbows drag back towards pelvis. But keep the pubic bone, the front of the legs, everything pressing down into the earth, because that actually decompresses the low back. So again, we don't have a lot of compression going on there. Release, exhale into downward facing, arms stay in, shoulders stay away from the ears. Once you're in dog, just check the soft elbow creases, the shoulder blades wrapping into armpits. Heel to butt. Inhale, bring left foot forward, right knee down for low lunge. Exhale to come up. Don't worry about your arms. If you need more balance today, left foot wider. And then inhale, right hand brings right heel into butt. Same glute activation in bridge. Exhale, squeeze down towards your gluteal crease. Pubic bone, navel and front rib cage are drawing in. And that sense of lifting up out of the pelvis, crown of the head reaches up to sky. So this is subtle, but it's very easy to just sort of collapse down, you know. So we're really resisting that pull of gravity. One more breath. Coming into Swan Dive, release your right foot. Bring your left foot back into the midline if you took it out, and keep left knee bent. Hands onto the floor, heart space open, and then use your right glutes to bring your right leg up into Swan Dive. So the left knee is soft, the heart space is open. If you want to, you can bring your hands into Namaste. If you prefer, keep your fingertips on the floor for balance. Just check that your right buttock muscles are supporting the weight of your leg and you're not just trying to kick your leg up with your foot, because that also brings in a lot of compression into low back. Release, right foot joins left, forward fold, let go through the back of the neck. Inhale up. Exhale, Namaste. Other side, inhale, torso out of pelvis, not shoulders to ears. Exhale from the pelvis, tilting down, slow and steady, forward fold, let go of the neck. Low lunge, inhale, right knee back and down. Exhale, torso up, so the wrapping of shoulder blades is a bit of practice. The glute activation, a bit of practice here. Hands down, inhale, plank. Again, knees down, don't collapse, don't stick your bum up. Use your upper body strength. Squeeze the upper arms in, elbows are soft, facing behind, as you slowly lower all the way down to the floor. Another Sphinx, an easy Sphinx. So forearms parallel, pressing forearms down. So we lift out of the shoulders and the pubic bone, the front thighs, whatever is touching in your legs, pressing that connection a little bit more deeply into the earth. One breath here. Release, downward facing, arms in, shoulders away from ears, just slowly. So no momentum, all right, moving you around the mat, just breath and muscular activation. Heel to butt. Inhale, right foot forward, bring the left knee down. Again, don't worry about the arms, just exhale to bring the torso up. If you want more balance, I always do on this side, you know, take your foot wider. Inhale, left hand brings heel into butt. Exhale, practicing that glute activation, wanting to, as best we can, draw the shoulders back over the pelvis. The front body is drawing in. That sense of energy extending up through the crown in response to that very strong glute activation, squeezing down towards the gluteal crease. And one side's always more wobbly than the other, you know, it's just the way it is. One more. Slowly release the back foot. If you took your right foot out, just bring it back in again for Swan Dive. So the knee stays bent, hands on the floor, opening the heart space as your left glutes support the weight of your left leg, okay? So not the foot, your glutes. Heart space opens. You can stay on your fingertips, you can come into Namaste. It's completely up to you. And it doesn't matter. What matters is a strong right leg, strong left glutes, just a subtle feeling of opening the heart space. It doesn't matter where you put your hands. What matters is that your quality of breath is exactly the same as it was at the beginning of practice. Release, left foot down for forward fold. Let go through the back of the neck. Inhale up. Exhale, Namaste. Second round, high lunge. Inhale, torso lifts out of pelvis. Just subtle, right? Exhale, tilting from pelvis, forward fold. Don't lock knees or grip toes here. High lunge, inhale, left knee back. Keep the left knee crease soft. And then exhale, just bringing the arms up. So it's a high lunge with the same activation as a low lunge, okay? So the left knee is bent, glutes are active, pubic bone draws in, shoulder blades wrapping into armpits. Just 3 pulses here with the left knee, not all the way down towards the floor, but just hovering wherever it goes to. Soft exhale out through the mouth. Keep the front body in. Inhale, just lowering your left knee down wherever it goes to. Really important, exhale, keep the front body in, use your right leg to release your left knee back up. Inhale, hovering down, keep the front body in. There's a tendency to want to flare the front rib cage to try and use the diaphragm as a core muscle. Exhale, right leg, left glutes active. Last one, inhale, just bringing your left knee down wherever it goes. Keeping that neutral pelvis. Exhale, right leg, front body draws in, back up into high lunge. Hands down, inhale, plank. Your choice with your knees now, but don't compromise the upper body if you keep them off the floor. Slowly lowering all the way down. A Sphinx variation, elbows underneath shoulders, forearms parallel. You may find it's more comfortable to take your legs a little bit wider here, but it's just something you can practice if you want to do this, okay? Forearms in, shoulders out, so you're not collapsing down into them. Tuck your toes. Press your pubic bone and your front thighs into the earth. And then if it's okay and you want to go there, release your knees by pressing back through the heels. But the pubic bone is really pressing down into the earth, okay? So we don't have this sort of big compression in the low back. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. One more breath. Release, downward facing. So no momentum. Moving yourself around your mat with your breath and with your muscles. Standing split. Inhale, bring the left foot forward and then move your hands so you're in a tripod base with your left foot. Exhale, similar to Swan Dive, right? Your right glutes are bringing your right leg up towards the sky as the torso maybe softens down towards left leg. Don't lock out your left knee, okay? The leg can be straight, but there is, the quads are really active rather than just locking out the knee and everything's soft in the front thigh, like a big, big difference. Let go of your neck. Right glutes are supporting the weight of the right leg. Just check you're not toe gripping here on the left toes. And the same quality of breath. Release, forward fold. Right foot comes down to join the left. Inhale to come up. Exhale, namaste. Other side, high lunge. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, super slow from the pelvis. As you look down, you can look at your knees soft, your toes relaxed, and that length in the back of the neck. High lunge, inhale, right knee back, right knee creases soft. And then exhale to come up. So a feeling of a low lunge in the pelvis, even though the back knee's off the floor. So the back knee is bent, the glute activation for a neutral pelvis. Just 3 pulses, right? Soft exhale out through the mouth. Inhale, keeping the front body in, just hovering the right knee down wherever it goes to, keeping that neutral pelvis. And then exhale, strong left leg, keep the front body in, bringing the torso back up. Inhale, hovering the right knee down wherever it goes, okay, but it's more about keeping this neutral pelvis, front body in. And then exhale, especially through the front rib cage, make sure it stays in as you bring yourself back up. Last one, inhale, just hovering down wherever it goes with your body. You know, it's not about getting it towards the floor. And then exhale, it's about this, keeping the front body in, using your left leg to bring you up. Hands down, inhale, plank. Again, choice with knees, it's up to you, but slowly lower down. Upper body is what is lowering you down, so there's no collapse in the back. That Sphinx variation again, if you want to do it, and if you don't want to do it, something that feels good in your body, okay? So keeping the legs on the floor if you prefer. Press into the forearms to lift up out of shoulders. Pubic bone and the front thighs press down into the earth. If you want to go there, tuck your toes, but keep that strong energy of the pubic bone pressing into the earth. And then to release the knees, press back through the heels. There shouldn't feel anything gnarly in the low back, okay? Because essentially we're bringing in a bit of length into the lumbar by pressing the pubic bone down into the earth. And if it's not feeling good, you can release all of that, okay? Release, exhale, downward facing. Just check in with your dog. You know, we do so many in our practices that sometimes we don't pay attention to what's going on here. And it's super important because we're on our hands. You know, we don't want to get into rotator cuff muscles. They do not want to take the weight of our hands. They just want to stabilize the shoulder girdle. So shoulder blades wrapping in, squeezing upper arms together, just checking in with your dog. Standing splits. Inhale, right foot forward. Hands into a tripod base. And then exhale, as you take the weight into your right foot, left glutes, all right? They are the muscles that are supporting the weight of your left leg. And maybe there's an opportunity to tilt at the pelvis a little bit, torso towards the right leg, long in the back of the neck. So just make sure with your right leg, you haven't locked out your knee and that your front thighs are just not engaging, okay? So you want to really work on engaging the quads, like pulling those muscles up away from the knee will help to activate them. And with the eyes closed, with the back of the neck long, that same quality of breath. Every breath is holding the intention, you know, to bring us into that feeling of being grounded, to get out of the mind, to have time away from thinking and doing and planning and organizing. And that quality of breath holds a deeper intention. Keeps us focused into the internal space. One more. Left foot down, coming into forward fold, long in the back of the neck. Inhale up. Exhale, namaste. Release the arms back into mountain. A few breaths here. So again, wherever the feet are comfortable, we are going to move into B series with 3 pose vignettes. So we will move into chair in a minute. So again, if you have low back stuff, feet at least hip width apart is a nice option, because it's all about bringing in a little bit more space and more activation in a functional way here, because I also have a lot of low back stuff going on. Okay, B series with 3 pose vignettes. Inhale, sit back and down into chair. Just make sure your arms are somewhere so your shoulders aren't hanging up around your ears. Exhale, forward fold, long in the neck, soft in the knees. Check the weight distribution in the feet. Inhale, flat back, fingertips on floor, hands on shins. It's up to you. Exhale, step it back to plank. Knees up or down, yogi's choice. Inhale, round the space between shoulder blades up to sky. Exhale all the way down to the floor. A very wide open low cobra. So that feet are wide, the hands are wide, and then inhale, pubic bone, front thighs and tops of the feet press down into the earth. It's the low back that lifts the chest up, but don't push your hands forward and lock your elbows out. Instead, energetically dragging them back towards pelvis. Pubic bone is pressing into the earth. One breath. Release, exhale into downward facing, slow and steady. No momentum, no locking out things, no locking out elbows or knees or clenching jaws. High lunge. Inhale, left foot forward, right knee creases soft. Exhale, just bring the torso up, but don't worry about your arms. We're going to take a reverse namaste. You can press your palms together, your knuckles together, or you can take a hold of opposite elbows. Okay, it's up to you. And then we're going to do 3 pulses again, because we all love them, right? So the right knee is bent, the right glutes are active, there's a neutral pelvis and a neutral torso. So this happens a lot with people, okay? This is an overuse of the diaphragm as a core muscle and an overuse of the rectus abdominis, which is the most superficial, right? So we want to get into the deeper ones, the obliques and the transverse. Pick a reverse namaste bind that is doing it for you today. 3 pulses. Press your spine back into your bind. Soft exhale out through the mouth. Just 3. Inhale, hover the right knee down. Keep pressing into your bind with the spine. Exhale, torso up. Inhale, hovering down, neutral pelvis. Exhale, press into your spine, left leg brings you back up. One more, just hovering down on the inhale. Exhale, keep the front body in, press back into the bind, left leg brings you up. Release your arms, keep your hands on your hips, walk your right foot in as we set up for pyramid. So for most of us, it's a little bit shorter than a warrior 1. And for most of us, it's super easy, right, to lock the knees out. So working on engaging these rather than locking this out and these aren't doing anything, all right? Press through the inner ankles, keep the toes relaxed. We're going to keep the hands on the hips. Or maybe you want to do this with me. Inhale, lift your torso out of pelvis. And then exhale from the pelvis. You may want to soften the knees here. Coming down, maybe torso stays parallel to the floor and you rest your hands on thigh or shin. Or maybe the torso comes down towards the front leg and you rest your hands on the floor. If your hands are on your leg, reaching forward through the crown and then drawing the left hip back. And then as left hip draws back, pressing through in a left ankle. If your hands are on the floor, still that same energy in left leg, left hip draws back, press through in a left ankle, but there's a release in the neck, okay? Eyes are closed, feeling the legs connecting into the earth. Feeling the breath taking you deeper into the body. One more. Lounge lunge. Bend your left knee, hands on the floor. Keep left knee over ankle as you walk right knee as far back as it will go. Keep that front leg alignment though. Hug your left leg, take your right hand way ahead of your shoulder because you need to jack your shoulder up to your ear basically in lounge lunge. As we work into lengthening our awareness through the right side of the body. So maybe the body's not going to move, but we're just becoming more aware of what's going on here. So inhale, reaching back through toes of right foot, that feeling of lengthening back through the right leg. Keep that energy. Exhale, right waist and rib cage, just lengthen up to armpit. And again, they may not move and they probably won't, but it's just this feeling of exploring the possibility of creating more space, more internal space. Because the more internal space we create, the easier it is to stay there, which makes it much easier for us to then observe what's going on up in the mind. You know, if there's hardly any space and there's not a lot of room for us to anchor in there, we just go straight up into the mind. But if it's like a really comfy living room and we're like sitting in a nice armchair, you know, then we can just look up at the mind and be like, okay, just see what's going on up there. One more. Release, hands down, inhale, plank. Knees up or down, your choice, as we all slowly lower down towards the floor. Half bow, or if you aren't feeling it, you can stay in Sphinx or something that's more appropriate for your body. So half bow, start off in a Sphinx in the upper body. So the elbows are underneath the shoulders, just pressing down. With the feet, just tuck them under, reach back through the heels. So you're lengthening your legs away from the pelvis and then bring your legs back down again. So again, it's really important the pubic bone presses down into the earth, okay? Bend your left, this is if you want to go there, bend your left knee and then take your left hand around left ankle. Inhale, right leg, pubic bone, right forearm, press down into the earth. Exhale, just a feeling of kicking back with a flexed left foot, okay? But keep pressing your pubic bone down and a sense of opening the heart space forward. Jaw is relaxed, one more breath. If you're doing half bow, release. Come back into kind of an easy Sphinx here before we move into the other side. So the pubic bone is key, right? Pressing down into the earth. Bend your right knee, take hold of the outside edge of your right ankle. If you're going there, foot is flexed. Inhale, left leg, pubic bone, left forearm, press down into earth. We get a lift. And then with that lift, exhale, kick your right foot back. Pubic bone, left leg, really pressing down into the earth, okay? Slowly release, hands underneath shoulders, and then on your exhale, just gently drawing yourself back into downward facing dog. Other side, high lunge. Inhale, right foot forward. Keep the left knee crease soft. And then exhale to come up. So again, we're going to pulse. So really, this is a low lunge position in the pelvis and the knee. Pick your reverse namaste bind. It doesn't have to be what you did on the other side, but it needs to be something that you can really sort of press your spine back into. So whether that's hands, knuckles, or forearms, doesn't matter. So there's a reference as we press the spine back into it, and that keeps the front body drawing in. So 3 pulses, soft exhale out through the mouth. Keep pressing into the spine. Inhale, hovering left knee down. Exhale, keep pressing into the spine. Right leg brings you up. Not your jaw, not your toes on the right foot. Inhale, hover down. Keeping the front body in. This is working the deeper core muscles here, as well as other things. And then exhale, right leg brings you up. Last time, one more. Inhale, keep pressing into your spine into your bind as you hover the left knee down. Keep pressing it in, front body stays in, right leg brings you up. Release the arms onto your hips. And then exhale, left foot in, setting up for pyramid. So again, just try not to lock your legs out with your knees. If you want to straighten your legs, use your quads, okay? These big muscles. If it works for you, inhale, hands on your ribs, lifting your torso up, but not sending your shoulders up there as well. Hands back on hips, exhale, maybe the knees are soft here to tilt from the pelvis. You can keep your torso parallel to the floor and bring your hands on your leg, or you can come into that forward fold and bring your hands on the floor. Different variations for different bodies, that's all. One is not better than the other. Your ego, the mind will tell you what the forward fold version is. And then we get into this striving and forcing and trying. So, our practice is about stepping out of those patterns. Hands on your leg, crown of head forward, right hip draws back. As right hip draws back, press through right inner ankle. Hands on floor, same with the right leg, but just let go of the neck. Closing the eyes, feeling grounded through the legs, feeling the breath, breathing into the sacrum. Lounge, bend the right knee, bring your hands on the floor, and then walk left knee as far back as it will go, but keep that right leg alignment, okay? Hug your right leg, left hand, wherever it needs to go ahead of the shoulder, so you can bring your left shoulder up to ear. So again, just exploring, bringing in some space and awareness in the left side of the body. Inhale, reach back through the left toes. There's a sense of lengthening the leg out of pelvis. Keep reaching back as we exhale, reaching the waist and the rib cage up to armpit. And that's all. It's not about collapsing your pelvis down to the floor. It's just about these lines of energy, bringing in space, bringing in awareness, and also decompressing the low back. The face is soft, the eyes are closed as we keep practicing living essentially in the internal space, in that place of feeling where we get drawn into when we allow the breath to guide us there in practice. Release, hands down, inhale, plank. Again, you decide what you want to do with your knees. Exhale to slowly lower all the way down to the floor. Bow, if you want to go there. Sphinx, if you don't, or if Sphinx isn't working for you today either, just coming into something that's nice for your body, okay? So if you want to do anything we've done before, then go for it. If you want to come into bow, start off in Sphinx again, elbows underneath shoulders, and just, pressing down through the pubic bone, reaching back through the heels to lengthen the legs out of the pelvis. So we've got the pelvis connected, the legs are feeling a little bit longer, and then release the torso down, bending both your knees to take your hands around the outside of your ankles. So the thighs are going to stay on the floor, the pubic bone is going to press into the earth. And then as we inhale, lower back lifts the chest up, and then kicking your feet back. So pubic bone is, we're trying to press it down. We're trying to keep the thighs on the floor. Try being the optimum word here. And breathe. The same quality of breath. One more. Release. Hands underneath shoulders. And then exhale slowly back into downward facing dog. Take a moment, check in with your dog. Just slow the breath down, coming back into that even, steady, balanced, nourishing, intention holding breath. One more. Heel to butt with half archer. Inhale, bring left foot forward, right knee down. Exhale, just bring the torso up. So a heel to butt we've done already with a half archer. So just a little reminder, this is half archer, Gomukhasana, cow face, you might know it as. And what we're going to do, we're going to use this to lift up and then maybe just to lean back into, but again, opening from here, not compressing from here. And what will help is the glute activation on the left leg, right? So left foot forward, glute activation on the right leg even. Okay, heel to butt. Inhale, right hand brings right heel into butt. And then exhale, that right glute activation down. So squeezing down, pubic bone draws in. Half archer, this is a pretty strong balance, okay? So maybe looking at something that isn't going to move as left arm comes up and palms comes down in between shoulder blades. Glute activation, squeezing down. Inhale, lift up through crown of head, through tip of left elbow. And then just subtly leaning back into your left forearm. So we're opening up the heart without compressing into the low back. And the activation of the right glutes are helping to bring a little bit more space and support around the SI joint and to release any compression out of lumbar vertebra. One more. Torso up, release your arm, release your foot. We're going to take a deep lunge variation, okay, but make sure that we're really supported in it. So if you tip your left foot wider, bring it in. So if this doesn't feel comfortable for you, you're going to stay in the low lunge variation that we work with the arms up. If you want to give this a go, you're going to bring your hands onto your left thigh. Right glutes are active. Keep that glute activation as you send your left knee forward a little bit, but at the same time, the hands into the thigh are lifting your torso up to open up the heart space. So we're not collapsing, all right? This is just nothing, right? This is just collapsing into your pelvis. It might look good on Instagram, but it's not good for your body. I like to do this time and time again. So functional, right glutes active, lifting the torso out of the pelvis. So we're opening the heart space. If this isn't working for you, back into a good old classic low lunge, okay? So one more breath. Releasing the torso, pelvis is back over the right knee as we move into hurdler. And then if you want to, there's an option to go into Hanuman, but we'll all start off in hurdler first. So hurdler, the energy in the left leg is exactly the same as pyramid, right? So no locking out the left knee and having all of this just squashy and inactive. So the quads are engaged. Left hip draws back, anchoring through the inner left ankle. Torso is parallel, crown of head reaches forward. Hurdler, staying here, it's an excellent pose. If you'd like to move into Hanuman, just make sure that you are staying very active in the legs. So tuck the toes on the right foot. And the right big toe is going to help to keep your right hip facing forward as you come down if you want to into Hanuman. So the left leg is still very active, drawing in, okay? The pelvis is working towards a neutral position and we're lifting the torso up. So the activation of the legs lifts the torso up out of the pelvis. If you're doing Hanuman. Hurdler, just keep watching what's going on in your left leg so you haven't locked that knee out. And whatever you're choosing to do, close your eyes and have 3 breaths down into the space between the pubic bone and the sacrum. The same quality of breath that you had at the beginning of practice. And then very slowly, especially if you've been in Hanuman, just coming out, taking your time, and everyone finding our way back into downward facing dog. So dog, check in with your dog. We're going to stay here for 3 breaths. Very grounding, very balancing, very centering. It's also an inversion, so there's an opportunity to release and to let go. I've said this before, but I almost feel a bit guilty about down dog because I just love it. And I spent so many years just kind of ignoring it, you know, not really connecting into the medicine or really feeling the benefits of it. And yeah, so I always feel like I've got a bit of an appreciation, like down dog appreciation society going on nowadays. So one more breath into this most awesome of poses that definitely doesn't deserve to be overlooked in our practice. Other side, heel to butt with half archer. So inhale, bring right foot forward, releasing the left knee down. And then just bring the torso up. So again, if you need to go wider, right foot out. And then inhale, left hand, brings heel into butt. So the left glute's active, squeezing down. We've done this already. There's a bit of memory in the body here as we come into half archer. Right arm up, right forearm down behind the neck. If this is your wobbly side, like it is mine, you know, just doing the best that you can, okay? So trying to keep the glutes active is the most important thing. As we then inhale, lift up through tip of right elbow and crown of head. Exhale, if it's okay, just leaning back into your forearm to open the heart space slightly, keeping the left glutes active. Lifting up out of the pelvis, keeping the breath steady, the face relaxed. 2 more. Release your arm, release your foot. If you took your right foot out, just bring it back in again. So if you want to have a go at that deep lunge, you can do. If you just don't want to, or you know, you just prefer to do a low lunge variation, then that's what you do. Glutes on, shoulder blades wrapping in. If you'd like to, have a go. Hands on your right thigh, glute activation strongly on left leg. And then sending your right knee forward, pressing your hands into your thigh. So there's this energy of lifting the torso up to then open up the heart space, but we're not compressing or jamming into the low back or the SI joint, okay? Which is what this can do, like over time, when we just hang in the pelvis, when we hang in the low back. And, you know, some bodies can get away with it, but over years and years and years of doing the same thing, most bodies can't, okay? So we just look after ourselves. We support our body with muscular activation. Might not like look as good, but you know, who gives a shit, basically, to be honest about it. So one more breath. Bring the torso up, moving into hurdler, and then from hurdler, if you'd like to, going into Hanuman. So the pelvis stays over the left knee as we extend right leg forward. So again, it's pyramid on your right leg. So the right hip draws back as you press through inner right ankle. Don't lock out the knee and just have these like floppy quads, really wanting to engage the quads here. sending the crown of the head forward. So hurdler, staying there if you want. It's an excellent pose. It's just as excellent as Hanuman. Your mind will tell you, oh, Hanuman's better and I should try. And I'm a failure if I don't do it. And, you know, an advanced yogi is someone who's like, no, it's not for me. Staying in hurdler. Hanuman, tuck your toes, and your left big toe is going to help to keep your left side of pelvis facing forward. And as you extend your right leg forward, at the same time, you know, you're not letting go of that leg, okay? The thigh is drawing in, lifting the torso up out of the pelvis. And breathe. I'm not going to do it on this side. So the eyes are closed. Hanuman, legs are active, torso lifts. Hurdler, just check the right knee isn't locking out and that the quads are engaged. And then with the eyes closed, 3 steady, even breaths into the space behind pubic bone and in front of sacrum. Steady, even, intention, holding breath. Not struggling, raspy, getting into a bit of a fight with yourself breath. Gently release out, especially if you've been in Hanuman. Just take your time and find yourself back into downward facing dog. So a down dog appreciation moment here. For one more breath. Release the knees down, coming into camel. So there's variations on camel. If you want to do a more supportive camel, which I find is excellent, you're going to keep your hands on your low back with your fingertips facing down towards your buttocks, squeezing the upper arms in. And everything we've worked on in practice, okay, lifting up and then just gently opening up the heart space, but you can use your hands to really keep that sort of spaciousness in the SI joint or lumbar vertebra. And then if you want to, you can go back onto your heels, all right? So we'll all start off in this lovely camel pose, so supportive, squeezing the inner elbows towards each other. Inhale, lift your torso out of pelvis. Exhale, just opening the heart space up to the skies. There's no compression in the low back here with this particular pose. Stay here if you'd like to bring your hands onto your heels, but it's still an opening in the heart space, okay? It's not about just like dumping into the low back. And if it just feels all in your low back, you know, come back into that first variation. It should be opening the heart, sending the pubic bone forward slightly, chin to chest, or if your neck's okay with it, you can let go. And this time with the eyes closed, breathing into the heart space with that steady, even breath. If your hands are on your heels, bring them back onto your low back, and then slowly with that support of your hands, bringing the torso up. Coming to sit down for a cosmic hug. So cosmic hug, there's variations. You can come in for a super tight little cosmic egg, squeezing your shins, chin down to chest, or you can take the feet wide and come into a bit more of like an open, relaxed cosmic hug, sending the torso down in between the legs. And breathing down into the connection of pelvis, into the earth. Breathing down into your sacrum, into your low back. Release. Come and lay down on your back. Before we move into Shavasana, just some, if it's okay on your back again, just some gentle windscreen wipering of the knees, but in control, okay? So no flinging your knees around with momentum. You're just gently twisting from side to side, but very slowly. We never ever, or we never want to use momentum, okay? Because in that moment, we're not in control of what we're doing with our body. There's that force of momentum that is. And that's when we can maybe pick up a niggle, you know, and niggles become injuries over time. So just a couple more if it feels okay on your low back. It's very gentle, controlled windscreen wipering with the knees. And then the next time they're up towards the sky, Shavasana, or if you prefer semi-supine, if you'd like to keep your feet on the floor, resting the inner thighs in, then please do. Shavasana, just a reminder, the feet are wider than the pelvis. Upper body is the same for all of us. The palms are facing up and a little bit of distance away from the body. So maybe you're aware that you're already trying to step into that energy of doing, stepping into your day energetically, planning, organizing. The to-do list is like sitting on your shoulder. So choosing to stay focused on the breath and inviting the breath to bring you back into that internal space of awareness. Your day can wait. For just 2 more minutes, your day can wait. Choosing to keep breathing away from the mind and down into that internal space. Very gently and compassionately to your body, bringing your knees in for a hug if you'd like, or if you prefer, keeping the feet on the floor or placing them there. And 3 really nourishing deep breaths down into the pelvis, the low belly, the low back. And then gently supporting yourself up to seated in whatever way works for you, but it's gentle and supportive. Coming into seated position and just observing the change in our energy now, feeling more grounded, more balanced, more centered, maybe feeling that we are connected a little bit more in our relationship to the earth. Hands into Namaste, breath into the heart, gathering our gratitude for practice to offer out this high vibrational energy into the collective through the sound of Om. Soft exhale out. Just gathering that gratitude on inhale. Croaky on today. Thumbs up to third eyebrow center. Namaste, yogis. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Thank you.